We have to get to the nest.
Nest?
Umbrella's lab, right beneath us. Net let it slip. That's where the virus samples are. You up for this?
Think I could fit it in my schedule.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're counting down our picks for the most trying areas across the Resident Evil franchise.
What is the FBC doing here? Answer me, Raymond.
I don't have to answer anything. You have no authority over this.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
The Mansion, after the Hunters are released, Resident Evil 1996. The game that started it all, Resident Evil is filled to the brim with its fair share of terrifying monsters to fight. You have the regular zombies, giant sharks, and of course, those darn dogs. But the most relentless nuisances are the Hunters. These are the extremely fast amphibious mutants with razor-sharp claws that are better left avoided. Once you defeat Plant 42, Hunters are let loose in the Mansion, adding a much deeper sense of urgency to the already claustrophobic and horrifying experience. Now, if you thought dodging slow zombies and undead dogs was tough, wait till you meet these reptiles. The Basement, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
We open our home! We open our hearts!
While Resident Evil 7 serves as a sort of reinvention for the series, and is easily one of the scariest entries, it isn't the most difficult, comparatively speaking. That is, until you reach the basement of the Baker household. Descending down the steps and seeing that dimly lit white door for the first time is one of the most anxiety-inducing things in video games. When you're in the thick of it, you're constantly bombarded by attacks from the grotesque molded, all while navigating the maze-like design and solving puzzles. The Verdugo encounter, Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 expertly introduced quick-time events into the franchise. This mechanic is present throughout the entirety of the game, from running away from giant boulders to dodging attacks. But where it shines, and where the game tests your skills the most, is during the castle portion, when Leon is dropped into a dark pit of death. Naturally, of course, he survives, but what awaits is one of the hardest encounters in the game. As you progress down the narrow corridor, eerie sounds come from above, and prompts will quickly flash on screen to dodge an attack from the deadly Verdugo. What's worse, when you activate the door to escape, it's on a timer while Verdugo pursues you. It's one of the tensest and most difficult moments in this game. Make sure you use that liquid nitrogen. The Hospital, Resident Evil 3.
I don't got time for this!
So, towards the end of the game, Jill is infected and out of commission, leaving it up to Carlos to explore the dark and monster-ridden hospital and find a vaccine. This section is the toughest in the game, which isn't saying much because it's only like 6 hours, but it's memorable for its challenge nonetheless. Hunters make their glorious return here, chasing down Carlos and soaking up so much of his precious ammo. Pair that with a ton of regular zombies, confusing exploration, tight spaces, and an abundance of puzzles, and you're gonna have a tough time to say the least. And to cap it all off, the section ends with a tower defense style section where you have to take on hordes of zombies, conserve ammo, and set up a perimeter. Super fun, but yes, brutally difficult. The Promenade deck, Resident Evil Revelations.
Raymond, that's you, isn't it?
The BSAA. A little too late.
Resident Evil Revelations is a spin-off slash prequel title that's also one of the series' best games. The cruise ship setting is right at home in this world, and there are countless terrifying monsters to fight and areas to explore. The hardest section in Revelations is definitely the Promenade deck, where you fight the gruesome Skagdead. When you enter the area, you instantly hear a creepy voice repeating "Mayday," calling for help from a locked room. And while it's a relatively tame area, what makes it hard is when you release Skagdead and have to take him on in a fight. The giant mutant with a freaking buzzsaw for an arm is absolutely terrifying, and fighting him with other enemies around will test your combat and reflex abilities like no other encounter in this game.
Raymond!
Looks like we both were too late.
What are you talking about?
Fighting U3, Resident Evil 4.
I have an idea. Since you're here, why don't I introduce you to it? It should keep you busy.
Lovingly referred to as It by antagonist Osmond Sadler, the U3 boss encounter is a timed boss fight that will result in a death if not tackled properly. Similar to the Verdugo encounter, the U3 area is a timed race against death as you dodge the monster's attacks and shoot switches to open the path to escape. If you don't do this in time, the suspended cages will drop into an endless abyss. You're not quite out of the clear once you're able to escape the cages, however. You still have to take out that mean old monster. Heisenberg's Factory, Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village introduces one of the most eclectic cast of characters the series has seen to date, each with their own unique biome and area to explore. One of these areas is the factory belonging to Carl Heisenberg. The factory is a sprawling multi-layer death trap filled with tight spaces, clever puzzles, and some of the most disturbing Cronenberg-esque enemies we've ever seen in Resident Evil. Topping it all off is the fight against Heisenberg himself, where he mutates into a giant metal monster. Also, Ethan drives a tank, so yeah, that rules.
You really should have taken my deal. You'll be frozen in the afterlife.
The Sewers, Resident Evil 2. Generally agreed upon by fans to be one of the best games in the entire series, the Resident Evil 2 remake also has its fair share of difficult and annoying areas. If you've played it, you'll know immediately that the sewers are the worst part of the game by a country mile. Not only is it dark and terrifying, yes, but most of the time you're wading through nasty sewer water, slowing down your movement and of course increasing the tension. Space and ammo are extremely limited here, and to make things worse are giant fleshy mouth monsters that try to just gobble you up in one bite. No, thank you. Once you escape, you're then treated to a boss encounter with T-virus infected Dr. Birkin to cap it all off.
I'm not just gonna leave you. Not like this.
You don't understand. The situation's worse than I thought.
You're not getting rid of me that easy. You protected me. Now it's my turn.
The Basement, Resident Evil 0.
I'm almost there.
I'm glad I could be of service. Time to go inside.
Resident Evil 0 is a good video game, deal with it. It offered a different, slightly more unique experience in having two playable protagonists and serves as a prequel to the original game. The hardest part of this outing is the training area in the basement. What's up with Resident Evil games and scary basements? They sure love them. Anyway, giant hairy spiders are the least of your worries here as Rebecca and Billy get separated after Rebecca is attacked by, and yes, I'm serious, a zombie baboon that causes her to fall through the floor and hold on for dear life. This is a timed section where you control Billy as he fights his way through the zombified monkeys to save Rebecca in the nick of time.
This is Rebecca, over.
Rebecca, this is Enrico. Have you managed to locate Cohen yet? Over. Rebecca, answer me.
No, sir. I have not found him yet.
Fighting Tyrant on the plane, Resident Evil Code Veronica. In almost every Resident Evil game, ammo is scarce, but abundant enough by design that you aren't entirely defenseless. That is absolutely not the case here. Towards the end of the first section of the game, Claire and Steve take flight in search of Wesker, but are thwarted by a Tyrant stowaway. The fight takes place in the plane's cargo area where Claire can maneuver around, dodge the monster's attacks, and blast him with gunfire. But if you haven't been conserving your ammo throughout the game up to this point, then you're gonna have a really bad time. If you're able to execute some quick dodges and wait out the time, you can knock the Tyrant out of the plane with a cargo container instead of using bullets. But the game's poorly aged tank controls make this even more difficult to say the least. If you're going into Code Veronica for the first time, we implore you, save as much ammo as possible. So, what were some difficult areas in Resident Evil games that you had trouble with? Let us know in the comments below.